Hi everyone, my name is Miss Retner and I'm one of the geometry teachers at Waubonsie. And this video is to give you a little bit of an example on how you should be doing your project for Unit 10. So for your project, what you should have already have done is found two of your objects that you're going to do the surface area and the volume for. My object that I picked is my container of wipes. Just know that no, you can no longer do a container of wipes. This is the object that I am doing. And I'm only going to do one object because it's just an example, but you are expected to do two objects. So just don't forget that you need to have two of them. So first I picked my object and I need to measure it. So if you have a ruler at home or a protractor, or if you have another way where you can measure, you need your dimensions. This is a cylinder. It has a circle on the top and on the bottom. And so I have to measure the radius and I have to measure the height. When I did my measurements, just to make sure that my measurements were accurate, I also actually Googled the dimensions of a Clorox container. And I was actually pretty close because some of it was a little bit, I knew I was going to have a decimal. So I wanted to make sure my dimensions were as realistic as possible. So I actually measured the diameter and then I cut it in half for the radius. And then I measured my height. So for my dimensions, my height is 8.25 inches. My diameter, remember diameter is the entire width, that is 4.125 inches. And then I just took my diameter and cut it in half to get my radius, and my radius is 2.063 inches. Just so you guys know, I have all of that written down on my piece of paper already ready to go. Your video has a time limit of 3 minutes. So what you're really going to want to make sure is that you are prepared with the work already done on a piece of paper, so that all you really have to do is kind of explain how you did your problem, show us your object and show us all your dimensions, and then kind of go from there, okay? So here's my object, all right? I took care of that. I showed you how I got all my dimensions, my height, and then I showed you how I got my diameter and then my radius. And then, like I said, to kind of confirm, just to make sure I was on the right track, I did Google the dimensions just to make sure I was on the right track, and I was. I got those kind of exact measurements, and I think it'll make my problem even more accurate. So once I'm done with that, we need to find the surface area and volume of your shape. Remember, surface area is everything that's on the outside. Volume is everything that's on the inside, okay? So hopefully you already have kind of your formulas written down for surface area and volume. My shape is a cylinder, so I'm going to specifically use a cylinder. And then basically all I did is I took my piece of paper here and I wrote down each of my formulas. So here's my surface area side, and then here's my volume side, okay? I wrote down my formula. My formula is surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. And then what I did is I took my radius and I substituted it in for r into my formula. And as you can see, I wrote it out there. I also took my height and did the substitution for height. And then basically I just took my calculator and did that final calculation. When I did that final calculation, I got 133.679 inches squared. Since that was surface area is squared. And I did make a little note over here that I rounded everything to the thousandth. That is 3 numbers after the decimal point. I know you've been exposed to a lot of different ways of rounding, probably, whether it be tenths, hundredths, or thousands, kind of depending on Math Excel questions and whatnot. I did mine rounded to the nearest thousandth. I felt like that was going to give me the most accurate answer that I could get. Okay, once I was done with my surface area, now I need to do my volume. So here's my volume over here on this side of my piece of paper. My volume formula is up here first, right here, where it says volume equals pi r squared h. And then I basically just did the exact same steps that I did with surface area. I substituted in my r, which was 2.063 for my radius. Then I substituted in 8.25 for my height. And then I took my calculator and did those calculations. So 110.307 inches cubed. Remember, since we were talking volume, volume is cubed and surface area is squared. As you can see, I've got all my work written down. I have a little picture that shows where the radius and the height is. I have all my measurements written down. I even put a little asterisk so that everyone knew how I was rounding, and I did not forget my units. All things that you want to remember while you are doing your project, okay? I did this on purpose, kind of on a piece of paper, because that's kind of how I expect a lot of you guys will do it. If you're able to do it in a different way, that's totally fine. But if you do it exactly how I did it here, then you'll be in a good place. Okay, so one last time, surface area, 133.679 inches squared. 100, and the volume is 110.307 inches cubed. And that is the surface area and volume of my object, which was my my Method cleaning wipes container. That I have a lot of these sitting around at home, so that's why I picked this. Okay, good luck with your project. If you have any questions, go ahead and email your teachers, and they'll be glad to help you. Thanks, guys.